Okay, so we've got a really fascinating deep dive planned out today.
Yeah, looking forward to this one.
Diving deep into Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, right?
That's right. Yeah. Timeless stuff, really.
And, we've got this awesome podcast script someone sent in.
Oh, yeah, that one with like the whole breakdown and everything.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Super detailed. And for everyone listening, what we want to do is, well, pull out the absolute key
The
insights.
real game changers.
Yeah, the stuff
Yeah,
that can actually shift your approach, and not just like a basic summary either.
right. Going way deeper than that.
Yeah. So our mission for this deep dive, it's to explore the real core of these 7 habits. Why are they so often seen as the key to building like lasting effectiveness?
Mm. Yeah, getting past those quick fix solutions, right?
Totally. It's like
Wow.
these habits, they're presented as being built on fundamental principles,
Mhm.
aiming for actual, long-term success.
Exactly. That's what really stands out to me about Covey's work. It's got that staying power,
Yeah.
you know?
Mm.
It's not about like trendy tricks or anything. It gets right to the heart of character.
Yeah, that's what we're after in this deep dive, right? Getting to the heart of these ideas.
Exactly. Revealing how they make a framework for genuine effectiveness. And not just in one part of your life, but across the board.
Yeah, all facets, every little bit.
Absolutely. Aiming for that richer understanding, not just a surface level, I don't know the word in English.
Familiarity.
Yes, familiarity. That's the one.
Okay, cool. So the materials you shared, it really hammers home this point. At the core of Covey's message, it's character. It's not just what you do, it's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
These 7 habits, like the source lays out, it's about building that fundamental character. And ultimately, that's what leads to genuine success, right?
Absolutely.
It's that inside-out approach.
Couldn't agree more. You see, lasting success, it's not sustainable if it's only built on, those superficial techniques.
Right. Got to have the foundation.
Precisely. Covey argues true effectiveness comes from developing that strong inner character. So we're talking about a fundamental shift, how we see ourselves and the world around us, and
Hmm.
a commitment to living by those core principles.
Makes sense. And the way these habits are structured, it seems super intentional.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The source material, it breaks them down into 3 stages. First, the private victory, covering habits 1 through 3.
Right.
Then you've got the public victory with habits 4 through 6.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, renewal, which is habit 7. It's like, you got to get your own house in order, before you can really engage effectively with other people.
You hit the nail on the head. That idea of the private victory, it really highlights the importance of, well,
The
self-management.
mastery, okay.
Right. You can't build strong relationships or high-performing teams if you haven't got a handle on things like self-awareness, self-discipline, personal accountability.
It all starts with you, right?
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
about establishing that solid inner foundation before you try to make a huge impact on the world around you.
Gotcha. So let's dive into that first stage, that private victory, starting with habit 1, be proactive.
Right.
The podcast script you shared defines it as taking responsibility for your own life, focusing your energy on what you can influence, not getting bogged down by external circumstances.
Right.
It's about agency, that feeling that you have control.
That's it. And what's fascinating here is the difference between, just reacting to the world versus proactively shaping your response.
Interesting.
Reactive people, they often feel like they're at the mercy of their emotions, circumstances, other people's actions.
Right, just kind of tossed around.
But proactive people, they recognize their power to choose how they respond.
Okay.
That's a huge shift in mindset from being a puppet of circumstance to being the author of your own actions.
I like that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the source gives this really relatable example, right? Instead of feeling trapped in a job you hate, you decide, I'm going to develop new skills, go after something better.
Taking control.
It's moving away from that victim mentality, right?
Yeah.
Toward owning your situation.
Perfect example. Highlights that power of focusing on your circle of influence, the things you can directly impact, instead of getting consumed by your circle of concern.
Okay. Yeah, I see the difference.
Right. The broader stuff you care about but can't necessarily control. When you consciously direct your energy toward proactive efforts, you actually start expanding your influence.
And the podcast script, it even shares this super inspiring story about Oprah Winfrey,
Oh yeah, love that one.
overcoming a seriously challenging childhood by taking control of her life and building this incredible success story.
It's powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, it really brings this principle to life, showing that even with huge adversity, that proactive approach, it can be transformative.
Absolutely. It makes you think, where in our own lives are we maybe giving up control without even realizing it?
Yeah, that's a good question for everyone listening, for all of us, really.
It really is. Oprah's journey, it underscores that your past doesn't have to define your future. Proactivity, it's about making deliberate choices that match your values, your aspirations, no matter your background or where you're at right now.
Love that. Okay, moving on to habit 2. Begin with the end in mind.
All right.
Now this one, it sounds a bit philosophical, right?
It does, yeah.
Like thinking about your legacy almost.
Right, like the big picture stuff.
But the source, it explains it as having this crystal clear vision of what you want to achieve in your life.
Mm-hmm.
And they even bring up the idea of creating a personal mission statement.
Ah, yes. A personal constitution, you could say.
Okay, interesting. What's the real power behind having that long-term perspective?
Well, what's really fascinating here is the idea that mental creation comes before physical creation. Think about it. Before you build anything, you got to have a blueprint, right?
Yeah, makes sense.
Covey's saying before you live your life, you should consciously define what you want that life to be about.
Okay.
So a personal mission statement, it's like that blueprint.
Yeah.
It lays out your core values, your purpose, your long-term goals.
It's about designing your life.
Exactly. Not just letting life happen to you.
The source actually has this analogy about planning your life with a mission statement, just like a business would plan their mission.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It really emphasizes intentionality. Like,
Yeah.
it forces you to ask, what's truly important to me? What impact do I want to make?
Big questions, important questions.
Totally. It's about setting your own metrics for success.
Absolutely. And if we zoom out a bit, without that clear direction, you can end up spending tons of energy on things that don't actually lead you where you want to go.
Just running in circles.
Exactly. Beginning with the end in mind, it's your internal compass. It helps you make sure your daily actions are lining up with your overall vision.
Keeps you on track.
And, the perfect example of this, Steve Jobs.
Oh, yeah. Talk about vision.
The guy had a clear picture for Apple before they even made, groundbreaking products like the iPhone.
Yeah, he was way ahead of his time.
It just shows how a powerful end goal can drive innovation, achievement, even against all odds.
He didn't let anyone tell him it couldn't be done.
Exactly. He was building towards that future with every decision.
Amazing.
It really ties into what the source said about clarity, too. Without a defined sense of what success looks like for you, you risk drifting without a real purpose.
Yeah, if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you there.
Exactly.
Okay, on to habit 3. Put first things first.
Ah, this one's crucial.
The source explains this as prioritizing tasks based on their importance, not just their urgency.
Right.
Which I think is a constant struggle for a lot of people, myself included.
Oh, absolutely. It's a balancing act for everyone.
So how do you actually make this work? What's the secret?
Well, what's insightful here is the way Covey separates urgent tasks from important ones.
Okay, break that down for me.
Urgent things, they scream for your attention, deadlines, external pressures, that kind of thing. But they might not actually be moving you towards your long-term goals. Important tasks, on the other hand, those align with your values, your goals, but they don't always have that same immediate pressure.
Right. They can wait, kind of.
So habit 3 is about choosing to prioritize the important stuff over just putting out fires.
Proactive versus reactive.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of people are familiar with Covey's 4 quadrants of time management.
Oh, yeah, that's a classic.
Urgent and important. Not urgent but important. Urgent but not important. And then not urgent and not important.
It's such a simple but powerful visual for understanding where our time goes.
So true. You see it and you're like, oh, that's where my day went.
Right.
Right.
The power of this model, it's in making you aware of how you're using your most valuable resource, your time. Covey argues highly effective people spend most of their time in that quadrant too. Not urgent, but important.
So it's the stuff that sets you up for success down the line.
Exactly. Prevents those crises from even happening in the first place. Building those strong relationships, things that propel you towards your long-term goals.
So things like strategic planning, skill development, that sort of thing.
TV fix.
So it's about moving away from just reacting to whatever screams the loudest and proactively investing in the things that'll make a real difference later on.
That's it.
The source says it's about shifting from simply being busy to being truly effective, which are 2 very different things.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Okay, so we've tackled the private victory, right? Now it's on to the public victory.
Public victory, all right?
Which is all about how we interact with others. And it starts with habit 4, Think win-win.
Ah, yes. Crucial for collaboration.
The source defines it as approaching interactions with the goal of creating outcomes that are mutually beneficial,
Right.
moving away from that I win, you lose mentality.
Competitive mindset.
Exactly. Which I think is really crucial for building strong, lasting relationships, both personally and
It's
professionally.
foundational. What's truly amazing here is this shift from what Covey calls a scarcity mindset, the belief that resources and opportunities are limited.
Which I think a lot of people fall into.
It's common. Yeah,
Like this very competitive mindset, right?
exactly. And he contrasts that with the abundance mindset, the understanding that there are enough resources and opportunities for everyone to succeed.
Oh, I like that.
Think win-win.
Hmm.
It operates from this abundance mentality, seeking solutions where everyone involved feels like they've gained something.
Everyone benefits.
Exactly. It's about collaborative gain, not competitive advantage at someone else's expense.
The source actually brings up Amazon as a great example.
Oh, yeah. They're all about the customer.
Right. And their success is tied to that deep focus on customer satisfaction.
Absolutely. By making sure the customer wins, they create a win for themselves, too. It's thinking long-term.
Yeah. Definitely not a short-sighted approach.
Exactly. It's about building mutually beneficial relationships, not playing zero-sum games where one person has to lose for the other to win.
Right. So it's about building something sustainable.
That's it. This approach, it creates trust, fosters stronger alliances over time.
Makes sense. And the source points out that this isn't just limited to business, right?
No, not at all.
It also applies to our personal relationships,
Huge impact there, too.
highlighting that compromise and teamwork are super important.
Crucial for strong relationships.
Yeah, it really reinforces the idea that true success in our interactions with others, it often comes from collaboration, not constant competition.
Exactly. In our personal lives, using this win-win approach, it cultivates trust, deeper understanding, and stability in our relationships.
That's what we all want, right?
It's about genuinely valuing the other person's needs and perspectives just as much as your own,
Okay.
and working together to find solutions that address everyone's concerns, leaving everybody feeling good about the outcome.
Now we come to habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood.
Ah, yes. This one's all about communication.
Exactly. The source really emphasizes the power of listening here, stressing that we need to listen actively with the genuine intention of understanding the other person before trying to get our own point across.
Right, right. Active listening, not just waiting for your turn to talk.
Exactly. And honestly, I think this is where so many communication breakdowns happen.
Oh, absolutely. It's a common struggle.
So what makes it so important to truly understand someone else? What's the key takeaway here?
Well, what's profound about this habit is the level of genuine listening it requires.
Okay.
It's not just hearing words, it's making a conscious effort to see the world through their
To
eyes.
step into their shoes almost.
Exactly. This means paying attention not just to their words, but also their tone, their body language,
Yeah.
trying to grasp those underlying emotions, unmet needs that might be driving their communication.
It's like reading between the lines.
Exactly. Empathetic listening, not just surface level hearing.
And the source makes this really interesting point that a lot of us, we listen mainly to formulate our reply.
Mm-hmm. Guilty as charged.
Right. Not to actually understand what the other person is saying.
It's a natural tendency for sure, but it blocks genuine understanding.
Yeah, it's like our internal monologue is already going, crafting that perfect response.
Exactly. When you're focused on that, you're not fully present. You miss those crucial nuances, the deeper meaning.
And you end up talking past each other.
Exactly. To really seek to understand, you need genuine empathy, a sincere desire to connect with the other person's experience without judgment, without immediately jumping in with solutions.
It's about being present in the conversation.
Absolutely.
So the source brings up an example of effective leaders. They prioritize listening before making any decisions.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, you can't effectively lead if you don't understand the people you're leading, their perspectives, their needs.
You need that information, that shared understanding before you act.
Right. And they also mentioned Nelson Mandela.
Oh, yeah. Powerful example.
He used listening as a key to uniting South Africa.
Which was incredibly divided at the time.
Exactly. Shows the transformative power of understanding others, even when you have big disagreements, a history of conflict.
Exactly. It's a bridge to reconciliation and progress.
And the source ties this habit back to the quality of our relationships, saying a deeper understanding of others leads to more trust and influence.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, when someone feels truly heard, the whole dynamic changes.
Absolutely. When they feel understood, they're more likely to trust you, to be open to your ideas, and to collaborate.
So this habit, it's the foundation for building those strong connections in every aspect of life.
It creates that environment of mutual respect, open communication.
Okay, almost there. Habit 6, synergize.
Ah, the magic of collaboration.
The source defines this as collaborating with others in a way that creates results greater than the sum of the individual parts. It's about harnessing that collective power.
The beauty of teamwork.
Exactly. So what makes synergy work? What are the key ingredients?
Well, what's exciting about synergy is this idea of creative cooperation. It's not just about working together, it's about valuing differences in perspectives, leveraging each person's unique strengths, and discovering innovative solutions that wouldn't have been possible alone.
So 1 plus 1 equals 3, basically.
Exactly. That's the magic of synergy.
The source uses the example of diverse teams building successful companies.
Yeah, great example.
Everyone bringing their own background, skills, and perspective to create something more robust.
Precisely. When you have individuals with different experiences, different ways of thinking, you get a much richer pool of ideas, better problem solving.
So it's about embracing those differences, not trying to make everyone the same.
Absolutely. Recognizing that our differences can actually be our greatest strengths when we work together effectively.
And then there's the classic example of the Wright brothers.
Oh yeah, those guys.
One a mechanic, the other a businessman. They came together and invented the airplane.
Perfect illustration of synergy.
Their skills were so different, but they complemented each other perfectly.
Absolutely. That's what made them successful. It shows that effective teamwork isn't just about everyone doing their own thing. It's about using everyone's talents strategically to achieve something bigger than anyone could have done alone.
And finally, we arrive at habit 7, sharpen the saw.
Ah, yes. The habit of renewal.
The source explains it as the principle of continuous self-improvement and renewal across 4 dimensions: physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. It's about investing in yourself.
Taking care of the most important tool you have, yourself.
So why is this constant renewal so vital for effectiveness in the long run?
Well, you can't keep giving and giving without recharging your batteries, right?
Burnout.
Exactly. Sharpening the saw is about proactively taking care of yourself in all these areas so you can keep growing, keep contributing, and maintain overall well-being.
It's like preventative maintenance for your whole being.
Exactly. You can't cut effectively with a dull saw no matter how hard you try.
So the source breaks down these 4 dimensions: physical health, exercise, sleep, nutrition.
The basics, but crucial.
Yeah, then mental growth, learning, reading,
Keep expanding your mind,
emotional well-being, relationships, gratitude,
nourishing your heart,
and spiritual well-being, meditation, connecting with your purpose.
finding that inner peace and meaning.
That's a really holistic approach to self-care.
It has to be holistic. You neglect one area, it impacts the others.
Like, if you don't take care of your physical health,
Your mental clarity suffers, you're more emotionally reactive, it all connects.
right, and sharpening the saw is about making sure you have the energy, the focus, the resilience to live those other 6 habits day in and day out.
Exactly.
And the source mentions Bill Gates. Super successful, obviously, but he
Yeah.
famously takes these think wits just for reading and reflecting.
Yeah, even at the top of his game, he recognizes the need to step back and recharge.
It shows that renewal isn't a luxury, it's a necessity.
It's an investment in your future effectiveness. And it brings us to a final thought for our listeners. Looking at those 4 dimensions of sharpening the saw, which one stands out to you as having the biggest potential in your life right now?
That's a good one.
And what's one small step you could take today to start that process of renewal?
Excellent question. So there we have it, a deep dive into Stephen Covey's 7 habits of highly effective people.
Based on some great material from our listeners.
Exactly. And it's clear these aren't just, abstract ideas.
Now they're practical,
They're a framework for personal growth, for increased effectiveness.
if you're willing to put in the work.
Right, if you commit to applying them consistently.
It's a journey, not a destination.
So true.
About making choices that are aligned with those timeless principles of effectiveness.
We encourage everyone listening to take some action based on what we've talked about today. Think about your personal mission, areas where you can be more proactive, and how you're prioritizing your tasks.
Are you focusing on the truly important or just getting caught up in the urgent?
Great point.
And remember, true effectiveness, it's not about luck. It's not about circumstances. It's built through consistently applying these habits in your daily life.
Great advice. Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everyone.
We hope these insights have been valuable and that they empower you on your journey toward greater effectiveness in everything you do.
Onwards and upwards.
Absolutely.